Hello, in this video I will explain the difference between two next hop in policy bus routing. One is next hop and the other one is default next hop. Uh, in policy based routing, we can use two kind of IP next hop. One is IP default next hop and the other one is IP next hop. Before I explain the difference between these two commands, let's see our topology. This is our topology. I have created this topology here. This is our topology. Let's see what we have. We have workstation, we have server, and we have two routers between workstation and server. One is R1, R2. These two routers are connected with, by two links. One is 10 10 10 20 21 10 10 10 20 20 slash 24 subnet. The other one is 10 10 10 slash 10 10 10 0 slash 24 subnet. These are two links. Okay, if let's see which path um, these two devices are using. If I go to server or I go to workstation and trace server, trace 10 100 103 I am using 10 2021 to reach server. If I here I will be, this is source, this is destination. If I pin this device, and I am using this path to reach server. And let's do opposite and then pin from server to workstation. Now if I trace 10 200 204, I am using the same path that workstation is using. I am using the same path to reach workstation. This is source and this is destination. This is source IP, destination IP, and I am using next hop 10 2022 from server and 10 2021 from workstation. Is our next hop. Okay. Now I can change this path from here to here. I can use uh, this change by either IP next hop or IP default next hop. Okay, let's see the difference between these two commands. Okay. Which one? I will be good. If I use set IP default next hop command, default next hop command verifies the existence of destination IP address in routing table. It is verifying destination IP address, not next hop IP address in routing table. If I use IP default next hop, this. It is IP default next hop is checking destination IP addresses, not next hop IP addresses. And if destination IP address exists, the command does not policy route the packet, but forward the packet based on routing table. But if destination IP does not exist, the command will policy the route and send to the specified next hop. Okay, IP default next hop only checks routing table. It is only check destination IP address in routing table, and if that destination IP address exists, it will not change the path. It will not change the next hop. But if there is no destination IP address in routing table, it will change the next hop, or it will policy route the packet. In other Cisco documentation, it is saying set IP default next hop causes the system first to use routing table, then policy route. It is the other meaning. It is checking all routing table first, then it is then policy route. This is our IP default next hop. Let's check if I go to R1, R2. If I check if there is the destination IP address, if I show IP route and destination IP is, if I am on router R1, destination IP should be this one, 10, 200, 204. And destination IP address exists in routing table. And if I use IP default next hop, it will not change, or it will not policy the route, and it will not work here if I use default IP next hop, because destination IP address exists in routing table. And if I use set IP next hop, Setup in the NextHub verifies the existence of NextHub. It is, uh, in other words, setup in NextHub always check uh, NextHub itself. It always check NextHub, and if in NextHub exists, then it will policy the route or change the route. And if NextHub does not exist in routing table, the command will use normal routing table to forward packet. Okay, if I use NextHub here, NextHub, it will check NextHub. For example, here, let's see. If I am on R1. If check, let's see if I have NextHub in routing table. So I want to change to 10.10.10.2. So IP route 10.10.10.2, and NextHub exists in routing table. Then if I use the IP NextHub, and because NextHub exists in routing table, it will change to 10.10.10.2. But if I don't have NextHub, it will not change NextHub. In summary, if I use IP default NextHub here, it will not change our NextHub. But if I use IP NextHub, it will change my NextHub to 10.10.10.2. Okay, let's see this in a top scenario. Now, where I am currently using this path, and let's check the other. If I set up NextHub and call the system to first use policy routing, then use routing table. This is the other explanation of these two commands. NextHub always check NextHub first. IP default NextHub first checks the destination in routing table. Okay, and now let's configure our topology. I first use IP default NextHub. First, I have to create this. I am on R1. First, I have to create access list, and then permit source. This is source. Our source is on R1. Our source will be 10, 100, 103, and destination will be 10, 200, 204. Okay, I first create this access list. Then I have to create route map. This is default NextHub, and this is NextHub. First let's check IP default NextHub. I am creating route map. This is route map name. It can be what other names we want. Permit. Match IP address. This is access list 100 as specified right before, and set IP default NextHub to 10.10.10.2. This is this 10.10.10.2. This is our route map. At the end, I have to upload this PBR on interface. Let's see. I have to upload this into here and here. It should be, let's see, topology. It should be interface Ethernet 0/0 here and 0/0 on R2 and 0/0 on R1 here and here. Okay, now let's apply interface Ethernet 0/0 IP policy roadmap PBR. This is roadmap PBR. Let's do in other direction. This is workstation. Also have configured on server. I have to configure on R1 and R2 at server. Okay, let's config. No. Okay, interface Ethernet 0. I have to configure on R1. Config T. Let's first debug IP policy. Debug IP policy. Okay, let's configure on R1. Access list. PBR default next hop. Then on interface level I have to apply okay. Now let's do on R2 debug IP policy config T access this is 10.200.204 source and destination. This is source and destination. Then default should be 1. And apply on interface. Okay. Here because I am using IP default next hop and destination IP address exists. Here's destination, and it is now via OSPF. Then it will not policy the route, or it will not change to 10.10.10.1. Let's check for trace this destination. This is Firearm server. It is not changing to 10.10.10.2. If I check the debug, policy is matching, but it's not changing. Let's check other ways. Trace. It is not changing to 10.10.10. Okay, now let's change RPD for next hop to next hop. If I use next hop, it will check next hop in routing table, and if next hop exists, it will change our next hop. Okay, let's go to config. No route map. Then I will next hop instead of RPD for next hop. No, two, no. Route map. Close the delete. Then I will use default. I will IP next hop instead of default next hop. Okay, now I am using IP next hop, and if next hop exists in routing table to show IP route, I am on R1. Next hop is 10.10. And next hop exists, it will change. It should change. Now let's test. Okay, now I am using 10.10.10.2. Let's check other ways. I am using 10.10.10.1 because I am using IP next hop instead of default next hop. In other words, IP default next hop is used for static route in most scenario. If we have static route, we can use IP default next hop. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you for viewing.